Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Namaskar, welcome back to Unit 2. In this unit, we are talking about the audience, digital audience, media audience. So far in this unit, we have learned about the meaning and concept of audience, why audience is important in media context. What was the earlier requirement of understanding audience and what is the current requirement of understanding the audience in digital platform. We have seen that audience is nothing but the people who actively and passively consume the content of media. We call them audience. And in digital platforms, audience varied from platform to platform, device to device. So, in continuation with the same unit, that is Unit 2, we are going to understand the importance and composition of digital audience. The concept of digital audience is applied in a specific case of a brand. It could be business or media organization. To mean all the visitors who visit the website, mobile app, social media pages, groups, accounts, smart TVs or any other online services associated with the brand, and that is the digital audience. We know that every media group, most of the time they try to provide umbrella services to the audience. For example, a Times of India group is having multiple media platforms right from print, television, radio and OH, out of the home. So, almost in every media bracket they have their own apps, website, social media handles, pages and groups. Why it is important for Times of India? Because audience in different time and space, they choose and prefer to grasp the content, to read the content and satisfy their information needs. This audience profile may overlap with the brand's traditional audience which access information about the brand from non-digital sources like print, books, magazine and any other form of hardbound sources. For example, the audience of a newspaper may consume its news primarily in its print product, but acquire the characteristics of digital audience for sharing it on social media. It means audience, a particular audience who read print form of newspaper or e-paper, and at the same time if he or she like any content on a particular page or editorial page, they crop it and share it to their social media handles in order to create the impression about the particular content, whether he or she liked it, what way the audience liked it, and they also put many a times their reaction in the form of views and point of views. So, therefore, in this segment it becomes very important in terms of trying to understand the key characteristics of digital audience over traditional audience. Similarly, in the advertisements that appear in a newspaper lure its readers with prominent display, but then push them towards their digital entities like e-commerce, government and product websites using QR code quick response, that is quick response QR codes for further action. I think post COVID scenario we have seen the importance of quick response QR code has increased tremendously. Why? Because the QR code is the one property upon which the audience may like to go and click, and it is very easy to put the action, call to action, either downloading the app, signing the form, fill up the form, or buying and selling the product. And therefore, in the print form or magazine form, we have seen in the advertisement, then in bottom of the entire advertising copy, we see QR code mentioned about putting the action, either to download the app, buy the product, click on the product, review the product, or any other call to action entity. So, even newspapers and magazines do so by assigning QR codes to news items, which once scanned through smartphones take the reader to digital products of these media entities for further action like watching associated videos, sharing news, using other interactive features. I remember when the Times of India group Hindi newspaper, that is Nai Duniya, is the pioneer in creating the citizenship content through app based or website based. So, in every citizen journalism action, if someone has reported some event about the event, so Nai Duniya with the news they put the QR code. Why? Because nowadays every smartphone is QR code enabled, that is AR/VR enabled camera is there. So, Google scanner helps to quickly access the information through QR code, and therefore, it has become the interactive feature. I also remember when Times of India, I think long back, maybe a decade back, in the print newspaper, they come up with a live QR code. So, when you read the newspaper, when you read any news piece and you would like to watch the video of it, just click on the alive and that video directly jump you to the website and you can watch the video. Businesses and governments have come to rely heavily on digital audiences for lead conversion. Lead conversion is very important nowadays, especially in website and social media platform, where the marketer or the advertiser lure with the content so that people can put the action, call to action by registering themselves, and with this the marketer or the advertiser technically receive the user profile of an individual person, and by that way they further do the action, either calling or mailing or any form of sales and marketing efforts to sell the products and services. The reason is obvious because the spread of internet and digital devices has increased tremendously in 21st century. Why this internet penetration? The user has increased multifold in 21st century, and it will go heavily, maybe 10x, 20x, 100x when we will have 5G and 6G and other internet connectivity services. In 1995, only 0.4% of the world population, about 16 million people, was networked through the internet, which increased further to 5.8%, or we may say 361 million people, and by end of 2010. It further increased to 28.8%, or 1971 million people after another decade in 2010 stood to 58.7%, and that accounts to 4574 million people in January 2020. What it means? It means that this data in 2 decades says that more than half of the traditional audience has converted into digital audience. Why? Because of its movable feature. 24/7, you can access information anywhere, anytime, on any platform. In different countries, there are different reasons for the spread of internet and creation of digital audiences. According to digitalcommerce360degree.com, which is a digital data tracker platform based on US, the US commerce industry grew about $601 billion in 2019 from $453 billion in 2017 because of internet, because of e-commerce services available to every citizen there. This is a sharp rise, and other territories of the world have also reported a similar spike. However, to put this figure in perspective, in 2019, the e-commerce sales were still only about 16% of the total retail sales in the industry. Though many e-commerce companies in different time and space, they do marketing activities through the advertisement, like Big Billion Day of Amazon and season sale and so on and so forth. A similar tremendous success story in the spread of internet and digital devices is that of social media platforms we have seen. So almost every platforms go parallelly, increase the audience penetration parallelly. The enormity of the swift rise of social media, which has shaped the character of digital audience all over the world. When Pew Research Center began tracking social media platforms, let me tell you the interesting figure here. By 2011, that share had risen to half of all Americans, and today 72% of the public use some type of social media or semi-social media. As this figure shows, the American adult audience in social media grew up by whopping 67% in almost a decade and a half. This fact alone defines how brands, media houses, social media channels position themselves, especially in the country like India, whose median age stands at 28.4 years in 2020. Though internet literacy is still low in India, at about 36% in 2019, but the growth of internet users is absolute terms has outperformed many other geographical segments in the world. Why? Because in 2023, we have seen India has surpassed the population of China. That is, in the population, India has become the number one country in the world. It means the number of users are more. The obvious would be that we can see the sharp rise in internet consumption, digital consumption, and that also reflect to the media consumption pattern. A report published by the Internet and Mobile Association of India, which is a regulatory body in the field of Internet and Mobile Association, popularly we know IAMAI, pegged monthly active users in the country at 451 million end of the March 2019, which puts the figure second only to China, and it surpassed the China in 2023 now, because we surpassed the population of China. A different report published by the internet research company, that is Kantar IMRB, which projected the number of internet users in India in 2019 at 627 million, which are not necessarily monthly active user, that is the total users of that particular year. Furthermore, according to IAMI report shows that about 66 million children between the age group of 5 and 11 years are active on internet every month on digital devices of elders in their families, a number which strengthened to about 71 million in 2020, and now the 5G has already rolled out in the country. Almost every nooks and corners of India we are getting 5G services, at least better 4G services, and therefore we can assume that this number have also grown up in 2023. The growth of this segment shows that Indian audiences has come to acquire the same component of young children as TV audiences had in 1980 and 1990, when media houses and government-run television channels dedicated programming slots them on the weekend. We have seen in media segments, Monday to Friday, that is weekdays, we find other form of content. In weekend, that is Saturday and Sunday, we find other form of content. Why? Because the media houses easily identify the audience preferences through these data, the choices of the audience, and therefore accordingly they create those contents and disseminate periodically depending on what the trend is running in the industry. Not only in India, but they also take the view of the global media consumption habits and patterns. On the other hand, the participation of women in digital audience of India is rather ordinary. In India, though this percentage is growing a little faster, but male dominates in almost internet and digital consumption. Female still is a very conservative approach we have seen. The same report, the same IMI report finds all Indian women participating in digital audience only at 33%, which drops to 28% in rural areas. Reason could be socially, reason could be technically, reason could be literacy point of view, reason could be importance point of view. The same division shows up in the urban-rural equation. However, on both these metrics, data shows that the division is evening out at fast pace. It means both the audience, male and female in India, growing faster and rapidly. So, with this note, let us come to the conclusion that audience, particularly in media segment, is very important component, and it's a regular practice of the media houses to understand the taste preferences, likeness, dislikeness of the audience, and accordingly media houses produce the contents. So, in this session we keep the importance and composition of the digital audience. This unit will further continue, will take some other concepts, will take some other meaning of the digital audience in another session. Till then, read well, watch the video, and if you have any query and question, do let us know on the comment box. So, with this note, we come to the wind up of the session. So, keep watching. Thank you. Namaskar.